Yeah.
Alright. Stream's going. You gonna pull it closer?
Do I need to be? I didn't sit close last time.
Your mic work is a little wonky, and I'd like to get it closer to Daniel also. Good?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
I think so.
Say something.
What?
Can't stop it. Say
So,
thing.
yeah, it's catching it. I can see it moving.
That's the fan. Alright, anyway. Ooh, I got a new subscriber.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I saw. Hey everybody, welcome back to Back in the D&Day, where the only place you'll see charisma is a character sheet. That's especially apt today, because today we're going to be talking about stats. The 6 little scores, and sometimes 7, depending on what supplements you use, that determine what your character is and what they can do. I'm King Nick, and I'm joined again by Fluffy Daniel and the no nickname, Garrett.
The faceless man, Garrett.
So today we're talking about stats. They haven't changed much since 2nd edition to 5th edition. We have the same 6 as we always have: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That's it. Bye. I don't have anything else. I didn't write anything down.
So some people might kind of be going, is there really a difference between intel and wisdom, especially new players?
Oh yeah, that's something.
So intelligence is more like your cold logic and academic learning. For most groups, I think they can agree on that. And then wisdom is more that practical life experience. Okay, if I shove the fork into the power outlet, it's gonna hurt.
I Whereas a couple of wisdom saves as a child.
I mean, I think we all did. Although mine was a copper and killed my dad's 5-hour Diablo game that he hadn't saved on. So he wasn't happy.
The worst thing I ever did was take a rough beaded necklace and wear down the rubber on a vacuum cleaner cord.
Why?
I was like 4.
But still, why?
An experiment in erosion and product durability.
I watched. I had a vision from the future and saw that video game where he controls electricity and thought I'd give it a go.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, back to our point. Yeah. So intelligence, like Daniel said, is a measure of what you know. Wisdom is how you use your instincts. It seems a little slower than that though, because they give it to clerics. But so it's like a measure of instinct and natural sense and divine intelligence, like your ability to ascribe to a religion. Then you have strength, which is just I'm strong, right?
Pretty much.
Garrett should get some saves in here. So dexterity is a measure of both how fast you are and how agile you are, which I mean it could be broken up into 2 separate stats probably. I think that's not too
But which 2 did you want to break into separate states?
Dexterity probably could be.
To what?
Like it could be separated from speed. I mean, just the fact that you're dexterous doesn't mean you're fast. Like not dexterous. Just the fact that you can definitely work with your hands doesn't mean you're fast. That's what I'm getting to.
The scores are also very broad in scope.
Well, then there's con. So then there's con.
Right, and then there's con, which is a measure of your physical well-being and overall health. So I think we can reference the Tumblr tomato post. I think that would be.
Yeah.
Strength is being able to crush a tomato. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato
when it's thrown at you.
Or when it's thrown at you. Constitution is being able to eat a bad tomato. Intel is knowing that a tomato is a fruit and not a vegetable. And wisdom is knowing that
it doesn't go in a fruit salad.
It's knowing that it doesn't go into a fruit salad. And charisma is being able to sell people a tomato-based fruit salad.
Yeah, that's pretty well. That's our stats. So and then we get to the very end, and we have everybody's favorite dump stat since the 70s. Charisma.
Bards. Fuck you. Bards are awesome.
There's your point for the day.
I'll gladly take that point defending charisma and bards. I'll gladly take it.
Said Garrett's the one. Okay. Charisma has been the dump stat forever. Second edition bards use them, and then that's it.
Third edition bards, my rogues did.
Yeah,
sorcerers. Improved feint. How can anybody play a rogue and not at some point pick up improved feint so that you can make an opposed bluff check, they lose their dex, you get your sneak attack? There's...
Yeah.
At least for a combat main rogue. I'll clarify that particular style of build.
Yeah. In second edition, literally all you get from a charisma is more followers.
Right.
Like, I don't think it affects any of your rolls.
Well, it affects what class you can be.
Oh, yeah, it does that. Because they do have their minimums.
Yep.
So we'll start with second edition because that's when I think stats had the most involved. They had the most involved role in the game.
Well, at least in character creation.
No, like in the game. Like
you couldn't even be character. You couldn't even be classes without picking certain stats.
Yeah, Garrett brings up the point. If you want to elaborate, I will. I
forget which ones are which.
Well, they're almost all 13.
No, some are really weird.
Yeah, they're almost all 13. Is what I said. So like to be a fighter, you don't have to have. Well, let's pick like a rogue. You need a 13 dex to be a rogue. You need a 17 of charisma to be a paladin, with like a 15 wisdom and a 13 strength to be a paladin. Never mind the other requirements, but you have to have those stats to be a paladin. On a related note, if your stat is high enough in a class, so like if you're a fighter and you have a strength of over 15, you get extra experience points for it.
Yeah.
Because you're just better, you're more naturally suited to be a fighter, so you learn it faster. And I like that. I wish that would come back. But like strength, you don't really get too much with it. It just tells you. It's not tied to a skill in second edition, but it tells you how easy you can open doors and bend gates bend bars, that kind of stuff. I mean, even like at the higher levels, you don't get too much out of the way. Something fun I think about second edition strength is 18 slash.
I was gonna bring that up because that's really weird.
01 to 00, but yeah. You don't like that?
I don't understand why it's necessary.
Well, if you don't like it, don't play a fighter or play a fighter halfling.
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
No PCs go above 18 strength. They go to those
you're right.
tables. Only things that go above it are like monstrous races.
Yeah, well then you also
are gods.
You also get things like gauntlets of ogre strength and.
Well, yeah, but the same strength as an ogre.
Yeah. Well, ogre strength gets you 18 to below nothing.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought some of them were 19. Like I thought trolls and stuff were 19.
There are belts that put you higher, but the gauntlets of ogre.
No, strength. I'm talking just a monster.
Oh yeah, they go higher.
That's why it's called ogre strength. You get the strength equal to what the monster has.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, so the only ways to go above it as a human, or as a player race in general, is to have those magic items.
Yeah.
But then why break it down into like 01 to 50, 51 to 75? Why not just replace each one of those values with another number?
Well, fighters don't suck.
No, if you did that, then fighters would suck.
They do this specifically to give fighters a class feature, essentially.
Yes.
Like, oh, you have an 18, here's a little bit of a boost.
Yeah. Because if a rogue had 18...
Yeah,
they'd be the same as a fighter, but they break it down so fighters are different.
So see,
so instead of going, if you're a fighter and have 18 strength, these are the rules. They're like, if your strength is 18, 0 or 0, 1 to 50.
Well, check this out. If you're a rogue and you have an 18 strength, you have a +1 to hit and a +2 to your damage. But even if you're the weakest fighter with an 18 strength, you have a +1 to hit, +3 to damage. So you're slightly better there.
Okay.
But if you go 18 00 the whole way, it's +3 to hit and +6 to damage. So you have a 10% extra chance to hit.
Right. So I understand that the reason is because 18's the natural cap.
Yeah, so it's essentially a class.
I'll buy that. But why then is it not that same way for 1 to 17 as well? Because if you're going to go forth with the extra effort to make fighters better at a certain value, why not just make it the same for all values and put that in the fighter section and go, if your strength value is this, it's better than everybody else's because you have the training and how to use it properly.
I think it was more of a way of balancing the game.
And if they did what you suggested here, there would be so many values that by the time you get to 18, your bonus is going to be like a +19 or +20. Right. Like, that's the only way they could do it, or else it'd just be otherwise it'd just be meaningless increase, meaningless increase, meaningless increase, meaningless increase. We're just wasting ink at that point.
No, what he's suggesting is what they did in 3.5.
That's
the fix that they did to 3.
Yeah, it's the ability modifier.
They just made all abilities the same, and they increased it the same amount.
Yeah,
right.
That's what he's suggesting.
Oh, okay. I thought he was asking why there isn't a 17-0 or 17.
I mean, essentially, yes, because if you're going to go through the effort of making the game mechanic for a specific point only because of one class, then why is that in the main section of the book and not with that class?
Well, I think it's how they lay out the books in second edition.
Yeah.
Like if you read the fighter abilities in second edition, they're laid out kind of like a narrative more than they are like bullet points. You get this at this level, you get this at this level. It's like fighters are able to do this and this and this, and once they get more experience, they're able to do this. That's kind of how it reads out. Our dexterity though, or anybody have anything else on strength?
Suck.
What?
It sucks.
Fifth or second edition. I know you hate fifth edition, but
no, strength always sucks. It's complicated. It's a hard thing to gauge.
All right, so dexterity does your. It doesn't so much do initiative in second edition. It gauges if you're surprised.
Yeah, it doesn't do much in second edition.
Dexterity, no, it makes you more able to attack with ranged weapons, and it increases your armor class.
Yeah, that's it.
Meanwhile, strength increases your damage with thrown weapons, which I didn't know until last week. So I never used thrown weapons.
It was like that even in 3.
Yeah, but I never used thrown weapons, so
right. It's not a very common play
slings.
Style.
No.
Slings
are
a
whole
technically
race that uses slings.
Thrown weapons.
Still, but you. I'm saying you did do it. You created a homebrew race based around sling use.
Slings use dex in 5th,
but not in 3. I'm saying.
Yeah,
the other editions they use strength.
Yeah,
I thought they did use dex in.
They do in 5th.
3rd.
I think in 3rd.
Because
no, they use strength.
It's the bullet that's doing most of the damage.
No,
not
sling is strength.
All right.
I know that it is.
Here, look it up. Researcher.
I know that it is.
All right, we'll prove it. So we're gonna move on while Garrett's looking. We have Constitution. Constitution. Actually, in second edition, surviving a resurrection wasn't guaranteed.
Right, and
you just had a chance just to die again.
Right, and I kind of remember that from the old Baldur's Gate games, which is where I got most of my education in second ed. Not that I necessarily knew it at the time, or was paying enough attention to really try and go, I will understand all the underlying math in this,
I remember when I bought Baldur's Gate, it was this huge box of 8 discs, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a huge thing, and my dad took me, I was sick from school that day, and my dad took me to Target to get it, and it was a good day.
I bet, yeah.
I like that. It was I like that game. But anyway, sling, your strength modifier. Okay, strength applies to slings. See, never use it.
All right.
I would have known that.
I stand very well corrected. Good
Constitution job. Makes it easier for you to survive a resurrection attempt. Because there's a fair chance you're going to die. Like, even...
Yeah, it's a 3.5.
Like, until... Is it?
Yeah, because that's why
we ignored that rule.
Oh, right. Because
I thought true resurrection
was a
didn't
reflex.
Again,
it was a fortitude save, wasn't it? To make sure you came back?
I don't remember what it was, but without true resurrection, it's not a guarantee.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I think with Res,
it
it's 1 day per character level, and then...
It's not worth doing.
Right.
It's not worth doing unless you're going to do true resurrection.
Right.
So, yes. So, con it increases your chance to survive resurrections. If you get a high enough con, it can give you regeneration. It's not great regeneration. I think it starts at 1/6, so 1 point every 6 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you're playing a dwarf, dwarves are in 2nd edition resistant to magic. Like, that's just written into them. So your con score actually improves your saving throws. It's like 1 every 3.5 levels or something. It improves, which is weird. They chose 3.5 levels, but that's what they did.
I think that 2nd Ed also used XP more as
XP.
Yeah.
Experience.
Experience.
I'm confused why we got here.
You brought it half levels.
3 point. Yeah, half.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So I feel that 2nd Ed treated XP more like something that was holy and that you were always actively trying to get.
Yeah.
Whereas in 3rd Ed, it could still have that same weight to it with the right GM. But a lot of GMs were doing milestones or at the end of a combat or at the end of an encounter and weren't really going, oh, hey, the rogue failed at picking the lock. That's 12.5 XP. Congratulations. I feel like 2nd Ed had a lot more minute-to-minute XP calculations than... 3rd Ed necessarily does natively.
Yeah. Well, this isn't by level. I think I misspoke when I said by level. I think by 3.5 con points.
Oh, okay.
That's probably where I was confused when you jumped to experience. I'm like,
okay, right.
Rectify. Meanwhile, my favorite thing you get from any ability score is intelligence and wisdom in 2nd edition.
Yeah, one gives you illusion immunity, and the other one gives you
at 19 intelligence. You're immune to 1st level illusions.
Yeah.
And that's fully impossible to do as a just straight character roll.
It goes up higher than that, too. Monsters are immune to illusions if they have higher than 19.
So, it caps out at level... if you have a... I should have explained this at the start. In 2nd edition, ability score is capped at 25. Much like they do in 5th with 20. But if you have a 25 of intelligence, you're immune to every illusion 7th level and lower. That is... incredibly powerful.
Scores a 5th go higher. PCs can't go higher. This literally caps monsters at 25. 5th monsters can have more than 20.
Fair call.
And you can always just home roll and no ability.
Well, also your players can go higher than 20 because with magic items.
They're not supposed to, even with magic items, it says.
No, with magic items they do. With the ASI they don't. We're gonna look this up later.
Pretty sure you're not supposed to go above 20 on PC even with magic items.
I'm pretty sure about this because there are magic items that increase it above 20.
Yeah, unless it specifically says, but a regular bonus from like a master work +2 won't do it.
I know. I'm talking like things like manual of bodily health.
Yeah.
So that's the one I can think of.
Maybe.
First. That increases
But it has to specifically say it. What I'm saying is if you were to read from a tome that increases your dex, it won't go above 20.
Any magic item that increases your ability scores will take it above 20.
It won't.
We'll look it up later.
Yeah. I'm telling you it won't.
I don't know enough about 5th Ed to throw a bone into that race.
I'll throw this in the comments.
You're actually not supposed. They also tell you that if you have a racial bonus, it can't go above 18 at character creation.
Well, that's crap. So I'm not gonna listen to that.
Again, podcasts about the rules, where the people in the podcast say "fuck rules."
Right.
Rules as written versus how we end up playing it at the table is always a delicate act with DMing, though.
Yeah.
Because everyone has that has at least one feature of a system that they're like, I don't like how this works. I'm just gonna tweak it a bit.
You're getting into the most important part of any campaign.
The DM is always right.
No, session 0.
Yeah.
If you're going to start a campaign, you should have a session 0. If you're going to play a one-off, who cares about session 0? But I would hopefully never start a campaign without a session 0. Where you'd establish homebrew rules and what ones you expect to follow or don't.
Yeah, there's always that.
And we can do a whole episode on session 0 at some point in the future to circle back to that. And
I think my session 0s are probably the most intense of anybody's.
All right, getting back, intelligence also, if you're a wizard, it gives you extra spell slots. Or no, it doesn't. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No, that's third.
Yeah, but it increases your chance to learn a spell. Increases the number of spells you can know per level, and increases the max level of spell you can cast.
Okay.
Meanwhile, wisdom gives clerics extra spells. It does that. That's where I got confused. And it actually increases your defense against magic.
Right, and I see there that it gives a couple of spell immunities once you get over 18.
Yeah, so these are mostly compulsion spells.
Yeah, right.
Spells that make you act outside of your character. It gives you, it lets you hold on to yourself more.
Right.
What else? Also, clerics had a chance of spell failure in 2nd edition.
Okay.
And if you have a low wisdom, like if you have a 9 wisdom as a cleric, which why? If you're power gamer, I know, but if you have a 9 wisdom as a cleric, you have a 20% chance for your spells just to not work.
Right.
Which really just like
Right.
my cure wounds went down. And then
you say that as to why would you have it as a cleric, but if you play by the rules in AD&D, you're supposed to roll in order. Yeah. So shitty characters were much more common.
Right, because aren't you supposed to start with your class and race and
you
then
can say that
do
cable
scores?
TV. Well, I'm not cable TV. I don't have an FCC license. I'm trying to get one.
We're on the internet.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I don't give you nothing comes from it as pocket, so you know it's a thing.
But yeah, you have to roll in order. You have to roll your. Actually, I think AD&D still used 3 dice, didn't it?
It was 3. It was 4 and drop 1.
Drop 1 was it? Yeah. So you'd have to roll your 4 in order.
It also had a point buy in here, but we'll get to point buy later.
I don't know if anyone really uses point buy.
I would love to use point buy.
AL uses point buy exclusively.
Point buy is something that's amazing.
Okay.
But it's something no one ever wants to do because no one wants to play a bad character.
Well, that's not my argument against it, but if we can power through this, we will talk about point buy. That's my deal to you too.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to say about point buy.
All right, I do. I do. Then we have charisma again, dump stat. It increases how many people you can attract to you, how loyal they are, and how your idiosyncrasies are relate to common people. Done. Was it Gravity Falls? Anybody here watch that?
No, but I'm gonna argue that charisma's a dump stat.
He's talking strictly AD&D.
In 2nd edition, it is a dump stat. Just flat out. It's not like nobody caps it first. I'm gonna take a high charisma, because even bards are kind of on that.
Oh right, because they're still. I don't even know if you can
do a bardic character creation in AD&D. Can you?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends which book you're looking at, honestly. Honestly, it does.
From going right by the player's handbook, I don't think you can.
Yeah, it depends on the player's handbook. In this one here, you can.
The revised, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. You could also be an assassin. What was the other one? Assassin and...
Assassin is in the blue one.
Yeah.
And Monk is in the blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can, but...
Monk was originally a rogue kid?
No, it was a D&D class.
Prestige class.
Okay.
It wasn't a prestige class.
You couldn't be in a character creation. Not in regular AD&D. It wasn't until second revised edition.
It's not even in that book.
Why All right, maybe that might be true.
Yeah. So
pretty sure you couldn't be a bard at character creation in regular D&D, not till revised.
One of the listeners is probably gonna call us on it and be like, I'm gonna make a whole big post.
So third edition, I think
we'll get corrected at some point.
We can power through third edition fast.
Yeah.
All your stats, all 6 of them, go from 1 to, there's no cap. It can go up to 200. I've seen it go up to 200. We had a fighter.
I've done that.
We had a fighter half ogre who took prestige classes and feats and all this other stuff to get it to 200. And if it's over 10, you get an ability modifier that is minus 10 divided by 2.
Yep.
That's it. Intelligence gives you bonus languages.
It's got to be over 12 to get an ability modifier.
What?
It's got to be 12 or over, not 10. 10's 0.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's how the.
That's when it starts going into the positives.
And if it's under 10, I lose my math on it. But every 2, you get a penalty of 1. Intelligence gives you bonus languages. It gives you bonus skill points. Well, it doesn't give you bonus skill points. It gives you your skill points.
Yeah.
Although you could argue that it's bonus skill points because, rogues, for instance, is if I remember correctly, 6 plus int mod per level.
Yeah.
Lets you be more skillful.
Yeah,
because it doesn't help you out.
Right.
You still can't go above cap. Your skill points are capped, and everyone's skill points are capped at the same. At
your
level plus 3?
Yeah, it's level plus 3.
Yeah.
And then they're cross class, but that's beyond what we're doing here. Yeah. And then that's intelligence, wisdom, and charisma gives you bonus spell slots if it's high enough, and if you're a spellcaster of a certain class.
Gives you more language too.
Yeah. I did that already.
And a lot of the functions of the ability scores from second ed get broken down into feats in third. Like for gathering henchmen, that's just a feature of your charisma in second ed, whereas in third, it's the leadership feat.
Yeah.
That's not even in the PHB; it's in the DMG, and you can't take it until like 6th level.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's about the level you started getting followers in second edition.
Right. And I'll be the first to admit it. That many and as many NPC followers as you can get in third, it makes sense to keep it in the DMG as if the DM wants the players to have it option, but not as hey, I'm going to start my character with the intention of going for this.
Yeah. It makes the DM a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Really though, you have 3 stats that stick out though in third edition. You have your dexterity, you have your wisdom, and you have your constitution. Constitution again determines how many bonus hit points you get, but it also increases your fortitude save. Dexterity improves your armor class, but it also improves your reflex save, and wisdom increases your will save. So those are your big 3, and they're going to matter the most, arguably. Even if you're a wizard or a fighter or a cleric or
I
sorcerer.
wouldn't necessarily say that they matter the most. I would instead argue that they're some of the more... I don't know how to particularly phrase it offhand. They're the core combat abilities.
They're your primary defense against spells and
right.
effects.
Yeah.
And that is really, in a nutshell, third edition abilities. Anybody have anything else to add?
I mean, strength was better in 3.5 than it was in any other game.
Yeah.
Mainly two-handed weapons.
While we're on third edition, let's bring up one of the
really good. They benefit a lot from strength.
More controversial splat books. The Book of Erotic Fantasy and the Appearance stat.
Yeah, that was a stat... I want to say exclusive to third edition.
No, because I think in second edition they had comeliness or something.
Right. I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, pretty sure it was a stat.
Okay. So appearance, and if we're gonna go comeliness, appearance appeared in official Wizards of the Coast book.
Well, I think comeliness did too.
Well, yeah, I'm just explaining appearance right now. And it was a separation of charisma, because a lot of people assume charisma is appearance, how you look, but charisma is your force of personality. So they gave, like, for this book used appearance, which was a measure of how good you look, and I think that book actually had spells that used it for some reason.
Yes, it did. It had a lot of spells that used appearance. Small sidebar. One of my favorite first or second level bard spells from the Book of Erotic Fantasy is Disrobe. All non-magical armor and clothing of the target falls to the ground. And I think that's a really neat combat utility spell. And yeah, it's kind of hilarious and kind of amusing, and once you get higher up in level, it stops mattering.
Yeah.
But at the point where you're getting second level spells, you're not running up against... Most everything you're running up against doesn't have magic armor.
Yeah, I guess I never took that to be a combat spell.
Yeah, I would never have taken that to be a combat spell. That's very, 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 very close, like, combat spell. The situations in which that would be used in combat are very minimum.
I don't know. Big angry half orc in full plate comes charging at you.
Yeah.
You drop your spell. He's not in full plate anymore.
Yeah, that's a good hit.
That's a very specific situation.
Yeah.
The enemy you're fighting needs to be wearing clothes. If you're fighting in a dungeon against a wolf, it doesn't help him whatsoever.
Right.
That's we're not saying the wolf is going to shed all of its hair and lose its natural armor.
That's what I'm saying. You need to be fighting against someone not wearing magical items and someone who has dignity.
No, he's not saying the orc's going to be embarrassed. He might be embarrassed,
but
he's going to have his armor class is going to drop drastically.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, and it falls to their feet.
Yeah.
So that's, oh hey, all of the armor and clothing I was is now around my ankles. I'm pretty sure any competent player could argue that the target of that spell would be flat-footed, at least for the round that it took effect, allowing your rogue to get in your sneak attack damage.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
So that's our 3rd edition stats. And appearance. I'm going to put this in the title. I'm going to make it a really clickbaity title. So I'm going to let Daniel do our 4th edition. He knows most about 4th edition.
Yeah, so can you actually pass me the PHB real quick as well?
And Garrett's going to sit here and crumple paper in the microphone. Yeah, no, in the microphone.
4th Ed did a little bit different stuff with stats.
There's a microphone.
The main thing that I would like to draw attention to is being able to use your intelligence as armor class if you're wearing no armor or light armor. And also, each of the ability scores can be used as one of the defenses. And you're right, I was wrong. They do call them defenses.
Okay.
So, Intel and Dex can be used for reflex, Wisdom and Charisma for will, and Strength and Con for Fortitude. The number of healing surges you get each day is based on Constitution, and I bring that up because that kind of leads into the idea of the short and long rest for
and the hit dice.
And the hit dice for 5th edition.
Yeah.
And each edition has used hit dice differently, but yeah.
See, this to me is really indicative of 4th edition just trying to make everybody the same. No matter what class you're playing, you have a chance of having a decent reflex defense or a decent will defense, because you're either going to have dexterity or intelligence, more than likely.
I think it's less about keeping everybody the same and more they went, everybody's trying to power game 3rd. How do we appease those players and let them keep being the most powerful, biggest, baddest ass on the block? while also being more accessible and an easier intro point for new players.
Fair chance. It's just so another thing I want to explain really quickly. They got rid of saving throws. Well, they didn't get rid of saving throws. They changed them drastically, but they made all the save stats that you had defenses. So instead of just armor class as a defense, you also have reflex, fortitude, and will as a defense. So when somebody attacks you, they actually roll an attack roll against your will instead of you saving for the effect. Yeah. So I think this mostly comes up. It mostly comes up in spellcasters. Like, I think some fighter abilities have like roll charisma against the will defense, but not a lot. And that's pretty much 4th edition. Do you get bonus languages or anything from 4th?
I think so.
See, I don't know.
I think they kind of.
See, if they don't, then they don't get
okay.
anything.
So depending on your character's race, you start off knowing 2 or 3 languages and the scripts associated with each. Okay. You can learn additional languages by taking the linguist feat.
Okay, so intelligence does not have any bearing on the languages, you know?
Right.
So anything else to add? Garrett, you haven't said anything about 4th?
No.
He's got a mouthful of bacon and egg.
Yep.
Anything else you have, Daniel?
No. A lot of 4th edition really comes out in how the powers work.
Yeah. When we get to the 4th edition powers, we will.
Yeah,
that's at least 2 or 3.
Probably going to have to be its own little mini series, just because there's so much content and so many different types of powers, and that's not even counting the individual powers themselves.
Yeah. So moving on to 4th then, or 5th then, I'll let Garrett have this because he's the one with the biggest opinion in 5th edition stats.
That strength sucks.
Yeah. Well,
strength's pointless.
Elaborate. I know I can argue.
Elaborate? No, there's nothing to elaborate.
You have to explain why you say that. You can't just say.
What's pointless about it? I'll be the devil's advocate.
Well, it's not pointless. I'm saying that any melee class. Well, I guess pointless because no wizard's gonna take strength anyway. That's gonna be their dumb stat. Well,
I currently am playing a wizard with a 20 strength.
Yeah. Very niche. There's no reason to take it. It doesn't do anything that Dex doesn't do.
Yeah, it does.
What does it do that Dex does not do?
It keeps you able to move your speed and armor.
And Dex does add to your damage with light and finesse weapons, but it still doesn't help you out with your 2-handed greatsword.
Yeah.
Strength on you, though.
Yeah, it does. We checked that just the other night. You still add your strength modifier to the damage rolls.
But you don't do any more aggregate damage than you would if you just used a longsword.
That's the same as third.
No, it's a finesse. So you could add your dex bonus to it. So the aggregate damage isn't there. You're just nerfing yourself for flavor.
Yeah, it is. One longsword's not finesse. I just have the page open here.
How much does rapier do? 1d8?
Yeah.
Okay. So rapier does 1d8. So the only thing that would do more than that is a glaive, which sucks.
Well, no, you have a maul, which is a 2d6, isn't it? What's a maul?
No, I'm looking right here. I'm looking for anything that's right here.
Yep, move your finger. 2d6. Yeah. So you have a maul, which is 2d6. I mean, you're doing.
But 2d6 is 8 damage.
Yeah.
As opposed to 4 damage.
Yeah.
On average.
Mm-hmm.
So for the 2 more, you would nerf. You would say. So here's what strength. Let's look at a character sheet. So strength does your strength saving throw, and then athletics.
Yeah.
What is athletics? That's picking up something.
It's literally climbing, swimming,
it's not climbing
jumping.
because that's acrobatics.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Climbing is physically pulling yourself up.
It's not though. You could do an acrobatics check.
Yeah, but if in certain situations you can. In certain situations, acrobatic checks aren't going to lend themselves to
climbing. So very certain situation. So you want to be better at climbing. You want to be better at picking up and pushing a box.
And swimming.
And swimming.
Especially if you're wearing armor.
Okay.
Because that's going to be a disadvantage.
Right.
Okay.
And then
it's also going to affect your carry weight.
Athletics.
Which,
again, most people don't use that.
Right.
But if you want to do encumbrance, then strength helps. Yeah. So if you make the game a crappier game, strength helps.
And then there's also athletics is an endurance roll.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Constitution's endurance.
No, athletics is what you roll to see if you can maintain your level of activity.
No, Constitution is.
Yeah.
There is no endurance related to strength. It's Constitution. If you're drowning, it's Constitution how long you can hold your breath.
Yeah.
And if you can stay... And in fact, it would actually be a
athletics.
Constitution save if you don't panic, not a strength check.
Probably a wisdom save if you don't panic.
I'm pretty sure they make concentration Constitution at 5th for some reason.
Well, I'm saying...
So, back to the topic at hand.
So that's strength.
Why?
So here's why. So you could do a +4 strength that would make you do 4 more damage than if you were to just use a rapier.
Right.
Now again, you could just dual wield rapiers, and then that
you can't dual wield.
You could dual wield.
They have to.
No, you could dual wield a rapier and a light sword, both of which are finesse weapons.
Sword.
Yeah, both of which are finesse weapons.
And a short sword's a D6.
But I'm saying both of which are finesse weapons,
and one
so they would benefit from Dex being both +4.
And one you're not getting a score on.
So would they from strength?
Yeah, so I'm saying if you had a +4, this would balance each other out. A dual wielding one versus someone who's dual. Now here's the additional bonus people get from Dex. So if you were to take the +4, you'd also have a +4 to your AC. You'd also have a +4 to your initiative. You'd also have a +4 to acrobatics, +4 to stealth. You'd also have a +4 to sleight of hand. You'd also have a +4 to trap save.
Right.
Why would you ever take strength instead of +4?
Is there still a max Dex penalty or max Dex on armor?
There is if you wear full plate.
That's why.
But why would you do that? Why would you wear full plate if you had just to give yourself that penalty?
No, because you want a better armor class.
But you wouldn't need it.
Yeah, you do.
You're getting +4 AC. You could wear a 14 armor and have the same 18. Full plate doesn't get bonuses.
If you have a 14 armor, then you're limited to a +2.
No.
If you take a feat, you're limited to +3.
You're not though, because
look at the page over here.
You can get, leather's 13. You're right. Studded leather's a +13, so you can get a +17 AC with no
So you can get a 15 +2, or you can have an 18.
Yeah, so
a 17 or an 18, and then if you're using a non-finesse weapon, or if you're not dual wielding, you can have a shield, so that gets you to 20.
So you would rather just get this straight. You would rather the 18 AC, than an automatic +8 to initiative.
Yeah,
depending on the character. Yeah.
Well, you remember.
Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
How many games have you played with me? But no, this is a serious question. How many games have you played with me?
I don't know.
A couple dozen, right?
More than that, probably.
Okay. And how often do I say to people that it's not always the most important thing to go first?
Oh, it's not. We didn't even talk about initiative. I would rather I'd do combat initiative. It's a much better system.
It's very important, I think, to a party to have. I'm going to move this away from the mic. It's very important to a party to have the party dotted through combat.
Yeah, that's why I just said combat initiative was a much better system.
So if you have a fighter that doesn't have a high dex, there you go. Or maybe you don't have a high dex. Maybe we're doing point buy and you don't want to, like, let's say a paladin.
Okay.
If we're doing point buy with a paladin, you don't want to waste your points on a dex. Because one, point buy is not going to get you anywhere near high enough to affect your armor class in this way.
I guess, but your character's going to be a lot crappier just in general.
Well, point buy makes you a crappier character.
That's what this is. If you could point buy and only get 1 +4, why would you not take it in
Well,
Dex?
in point buy you can't get a +4. You're limited to a +3.
So if you could only... So how many +3s do you get in point buy?
1. Well, you can get 2, but...
Yeah, with racial feats.
Arguably, you can get 3.
So if you could get a +4, why would you not? Why would you take it in strength and give your Dex +3? Why would you do that?
Because you have, because you need your carry.
But you can't at character creation. You can't start with full plate.
Yeah, I know.
So
but you can start with heavy armor.
But that's less than what you would have if you had a +4 Dex.
Yeah, but
you can start with a 13 and go right to 17.
Or you can be fully armored and have a shield and a longsword.
You can wear a shield with Dex.
Yeah.
You don't get Dex nerf.
But you don't dual wield if you have a shield.
Yeah, so the very specific situation where you want to use...
Well, that's your argument. That is the flex of your argument. Is you dual wield it.
No, my argument is the flex ability. To be better than a warrior who has a +4 Dex, you need to specifically be wearing full plate and specifically need to be wearing a maul.
Where
Or using a maul or a 2d6 weapon.
Okay,
so
well, in your dexterity argument here, how do you increase your armor class?
You could do anything you wanted because it's a +4. You could literally wear mithril and get plus to 17, and then with shield to 19.
You're still capped because I mean you can wear mithril plate.
No, you could wear mithril studded leather. You're debating of 1 AC difference here.
Yeah.
So are you.
18.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I'm not because Dex.
No,
but Dex also has +4 initiative. Dex also gives you sleight of hand. Dex also gives you stealth. Dex also gives you acrobatics. Dex also gives you a Dex saving throw, which is effective against all traps.
As a paladin, are you sneaking?
No, again, paladin. I said a fighter. Why would you want to make a fighter that didn't use +4 Dex?
Are you sneaking as a fighter?
Why wouldn't you want to?
Because you're not good at it.
So
that's the
your argument is I'm specifically making a bad character to be bad at stealth. Therefore, I'm not going to use it. Well, yes, obviously,
not a stealth-based character.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't even have to be. I'm saying you wouldn't even have to be. This is the benefits of Dex. You could say, I want a +4 damage to my weapon. I could do this with Dex or with Strength. If I take Dex, I also get +4 initiative. I also become good at sleight of hand. I also become good at stealth. I also become good at dodging traps. I also become get higher AC. Also don't need to buy chainmail. I could wear a shield to get even higher. I could also dual wield and then outparse if I had sneak attack. I guess I'll take Strength and then be bad.
This rant was brought to you by a man who never roleplayed.
No, that's not true. Yeah. I'm just saying, as a fighter, when you given the options, this is
as a fighter in a society that values strength, would you choose dexterity?
No. This is specifically.
Real quick, answer that question.
What was the question?
If you're playing a fighter who exists in a society that values strength, would you choose dexterity over strength?
And if you're a fighter who exists in who values strength, would I choose dexterity over strength?
Let's say arguably for some.
I would. You know why?
Out of the world imagination, you're part of the city guard.
Yeah, I just said yes. And do you want me to explain why I would? And it's a thing that benefits strength, why I would choose dexterity.
Explain it in a character
I'm going
sense.
Because I would be leader. Because when in a strength-based situation, they'd use a person who's strongest. I'd be going first in initiative. I could knock out the guy I'm fighting right away, 1 turn. I get +4 initiative. Also, Strength, they're probably not going to be wanting to use armor. They're probably going to be like, dude, use your brute strength. All right, I get a +4 bonus AC with unarmored.
Well, what about the fact that...
so a very specific niche situation that you're going to complicate using strength benefits? Okay.
What about the fact that you're not going to kill everybody in one hit?
I didn't say I would. I said in a fist fight.
That's your argument.
No, bar fights are based on...
I think this also gets at one of the arguments that's at the core of role-playing games in general. Which is, do we want to play the system the most efficiently, or do we want to play the character in the best manner possible?
Well, okay, to bring it back around, you asked the question...
We actually don't have time to bring it back around.
This will be quick. You asked the question in the very beginning, why would you make a table just for fighter so that he was better? Because he asked literally. I did. Why would you do that? Because fighters get nerfed if they benefit just on strength stat. So you need to make them better for being a fighter alone. And I'm just saying strength is bad in 5th, and it could be easily fixed just by doing what they did in 3.5. I don't know why I don't understand. It must have been an oversight because it lacks common sense. Why they got rid of the adding extra strength bonus to using a 2-handed weapon. That was in 3.5.
They got rid of that?
Yes, it's not.
That's so freaking dumb.
The hand and a half.
Yeah, the hand and a half.
So freaking dumb.
The minuscule of 1 damage that I'm talking about would have been fixed by that. Because a +5 would get an extra +2. It'd be a +7.
Yeah. All right, well, we actually have to wrap that. In 5th edition, there are other stats, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and wisdom, and charisma. We don't have time to get into that,
the same as in 3.5.
Yeah, they behave the same as 3.5.
Except for there's no fort wisdom or no fort reflex and...
Yeah, there are no saves
what's the third one?
They're just every one of them gets their own individual save.
Yeah, everyone gets their own individual save.
Done. All right. So we got a little off the rails there. We'll get back to that one hundreds of times. I know Garrett's disposition on that.
Pretty much explained it. I have nothing else to say.
You'll get back to it, I'm certain. Anything you're up to this week?
Not particularly. A buddy of mine's running a Call of Cthulhu game on Friday. Or Saturday, so that's going to be interesting. I'm still getting my Starfinder group together and I'm starting to kind of session zero through our group chats and kind of we did a character creation last week, and so we're going to keep on talking about what we all want to do.
Okay.
How about you, Steve?
I've been play testing. That's a pipe dream right now. I've been working on creating a shaman class for 5th edition, and then my heritage subclasses or subraces, and then that's pretty much it. I don't have any games lined up for a long time in the future.
Yeah, January, mate.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
Oh, we're doing all getting rid of Exalted.
I don't know. I haven't heard a word from anybody that plays Exalted except for you. So it's in
Not even
there.
Rose?
Rose is busy. If Rose wasn't busy, she'd be here with us right now.
I get that. This is an awkward
probably reach out to some people if you're trying to get a White Wolf game together.
Maybe. That'll be a thing. Are you up to anything, Garrett? Besides petting my cat and getting covered in hair.
I should have wore a white shirt. I always forget to wear the white. I am aware of that.
Notice how I wear black shirts around them and don't get hair on me.
No, I haven't really done anything. No, you know what I've been doing is I still need to get you to play that Zelda game. Should have brought it one day.
I'm not opposed to it. Just bring it.
I know. That's what I just said. I should have brought it. It's literally what I said.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I concur. Anything else?
No, I'm playing through Kingdom Death.
Kingdom Death?
Yeah, it's a good game.
Cool.
Solo campaign.
Oh, okay. So check us out on Twitter, where I actually have a functioning Twitter account right now. It's at D&Day, the letter D-N instead of the ampersand. I didn't even say the right thing. It's at D&Day History. No. What am I doing? Somebody here?
There's a link in this.
No. Yeah, there should be a link there. It's D&D History.
Well, no one watched this live, so when no one... so when they watch it, if anybody watches it back, there'll be a link in the description.
I also need money for psychiatric treatment. So if you could donate to the Patreon, we're updating our goals and tiers
to include psychiatric treatment.
It will, and this will become a more stable conversation once we get that. We also have our D&Day Discord, which you're always welcome to jump in and talk to one of us while we record this. And then we're going to be offering, through Patreon especially, a $5 homebrew review. You drop $5 here, you send us your homebrew, be it a race, a class. Campaign World might be a $10 review.
We'll at least take a look at it and go, hey, this looks pretty cool.
And we'll review it on the air, assuming we don't go over like we always have. That's our social media. We always go over.
We need to recalculate our timing.
Yeah.
I was under the impression it was 45 to 45.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a good day. Somebody say goodbye beside me.
No.
Bye, guys.
Garrett says bye. Daniel, too.
No, Garrett says I wish you were done. Oh, hey, it's still... oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, this is recording.